Thank you for coming. My name is Ariel Hochstadt. I'm the co-founder of Hochstadt, and I'm in the online industry for the past 15 years. Before Hochstadt and other online brands that we develop, I was working for Google as Gmail marketing manager for emerging markets. And today I'm going to talk with you about SEO tactics that you are missing out. You are missing out tactics that would help your site flourish. And the reason you do that is because you think they are not as important, or you think you don't have influence on, or your laptop is still open and you are looking at it instead of listening to me. But the tactics that I'm going to use and teach you today and show you how we use it can actually make a big difference on your website. It's not all links. So this is a word you will not hear from me today anymore. Let's move on. So what's the deal? The deal is Google doesn't really know who you are. It tries to determine who you are, but it doesn't know. And this is why you're not ranking so well as you should deserve. But once you understand it, you stop telling Google things like, see how good I am. You understand they don't listen to you and they have an algorithm, and you understand you need to talk with the algo. So once you understood that, you work on your digital footprint. You work on showing Google you are much bigger than they may think. And Google will analyze it, and they will arrive to the conclusion, those guys are serious, those guys are big. So today, we're going to talk about increasing your digital footprint. Google will think you're so huge because everywhere they look, they would see your brand. And you can really control it. So we're going to talk about two things. The first one is users, okay? You have a few circle of users that you can influence. And by understanding it and making a good segmentation, you can increase their engagement. So the first part is users, and the second part is engaging them. Engaging them in the right place, in the right moment, making them share you more often, making them do some technicalities that I will show you later on. So if I'm talking about users, I'm talking about you. You are the most important user. So I'm standing here. I have a lot of influence on myself, not as much as my wife has over me, but almost as close. And I can do whatever I want. I can mention Hochstadt a few times, and at the end, you will remember it. I will show you how you can influence your brand very soon, but also your employees. So I'm not alone here. There are a few of my partners here as well, and I can influence them. I can tell them to update their LinkedIn profile and include my website in it, or our brand. I also have influence on the vendors and clients. Okay, so I'm going to meet in the next few days with a few of our vendors, and I have some influence on them because I'm generating a lot of money to them. So if I ask them to tweet about me, they will probably agree. And obviously, there are industry leaders and other users of your site. And when I'm talking about engaging, well, that's obvious. It's bookmarking your site, it's sharing it, it's tweeting it, but there is a lot more. And I will show you today what more. So let's dive into the first part, users. Your LinkedIn profile, take it for example. I bet you that if you look at your LinkedIn profile now, you will understand, at least most of you, that it kind of sucks, because it doesn't help you build your brand. This is an example I took of a few, titles people has on their profile in LinkedIn. And what's the problem with it? No call to action. Probably the brand is not mentioned, but your LinkedIn profile is shown many more times than you imagine. And if you look at mine, you would see I changed it. It's hard to see, so I'll read it out. Web hosting ? Go to hostadvice.com and compare 2,000 web hosts. This is a call to action. Now, my profile is shown not only for people that go and search for my name, but also for people that search other people that I know, and my profile is shown on the right side as people also viewed. So many more people are actually looking at your profile, and those people are interested in you. So they could be actually that father of the girl from my son's kindergarten. He wants to know what I'm doing. He's interested in me just out of curiosity. And he goes to my profile in LinkedIn, and what happens? He sees Hochstadt, and he goes to Google and he types in Hochstadt, or he copy-paste the URL, direct traffic brand search, do you think it adds value to your ranking? It adds a bit, right? Only from people interested in me. Obviously, I asked all of the employees in the company to also change their profile to something similar. Some of them would say no, and I can't really influence them or force them. I will not fire them. But the longer you go, you have more people that you can influence, but your influence is smaller. It's not only LinkedIn, it's all of your social profile. If you're not an American, most chances that your messaging app is called WhatsApp. And what are the top two status lines in WhatsApp? Available and hey, I'm using WhatsApp. So great. Even WhatsApp understood they need to use you to promote WhatsApp. But have you changed your profile in WhatsApp lately? Have you included your brand? Because again, those people from the kindergarten that text you wants to know what you're doing. And they will go and search on their mobile device, most chances an Android device, for your brand. But these are, some nice tips, cool things we can do for 5 minutes. But it's not only about you and your direct contacts that you can influence. Some of you would tell me, hey, Ariel, it's me, Jonathan. It's like 2-people operation. We have 5 vendors, that's it. So we take your advice, and we change it, and we tweak it, and after 5 minutes, we're done, right? I don't have so many people that I can influence. And this is not true. You can decide that you want to increase the number of people you can influence. And I'll give you an example. All the, crappy best web hosting top 10 websites have 10 web hosting companies listed, probably all affiliate links. Some of them would go and have 20 or 30, and the big ones have 200 companies listed on their website. Now, those are 200 vendors that they can influence, that care about the website. We decided we want 2,000. We said if the top sites have 200 companies, we would have 2,000 companies listed on our site. And why is it so interesting? Because if I have 2,000 websites listed on my site, they care about my site, they promote my site. Think about you guys. You all promote Facebook. This Mark Zuckerberg guy is a very smart guy. He made all of you push all the time your Facebook page and promote Facebook as a platform. You think you promote yourself, you think you promote your brand page, but you actually promote Facebook. So we did the same. We have 2,000 pages, and companies tweet about it. Companies share it with people. Companies ask their users over newsletters to add reviews. So we recruited 2,000 companies into our marketing team for free, and they're not stupid. They know what they're doing this. Some of them actually link to our website from their homepage, telling users, look at the reviews we got. They're smart enough to understand that a site that is credible and authoritative would actually help them convert. And we enjoy 2,000 companies that join our marketing team, and we can influence more than the average user. Another good example is differentiating users that use the site more engaged with you. For example, we added recently a chat function to the website. Now, we don't make money from this chat. People ask us which web hosting is best and what do we recommend for WordPress and so forth, and we answer them online, virtual, real person, not virtual. And why do we do that? We do that because at the end of the 5 minutes chat, those people would do whatever I ask them. Because I gave them great advice, personal, not automatic, not robot. I didn't try to sell them anything, and I didn't try to sell them. I'm not trying to sell them always the affiliate link if this is not what they need. And those people would like me, those people would share my site, and after a week we implemented it, the amount of likes grew by 100%. So this is enough about users. I told you this is the first part. You can influence a lot of people starting with you. If you haven't changed your profile picture, profile status by the end of this presentation, I'm doing something wrong. But there's another side, which I really like. It's all the technicalities, all the tricks and tips that you can do. And there's one thing that is important to understand. The most significant signal that Google has over your site, which when it's not links, I promise I will not say this word, is the bounce rate back to Google. Now, when I say bounce rate, I'm not talking about Google Analytics bounce rate. This is an interesting parameter, but not relevant to our talk. I'm talking about how many people search something in Google, arrive to your site, and decided to go back to Google and click on the second link, or third or fourth. If you see people doing like this, you understand you are wrong. You completely lost it, and you're giving Google a great signal that your site is not giving them the right answer. So all we focus on is making users stay on our site or go forward to some other site, but never go back to Google. And you actually can influence that, and I will show you how. So if you don't have the answer to what users are asking, you should still make them believe they will not find it anywhere else. Let's say, for example, people are searching now for an iPhone 7 launch date. Anybody here know when the iPhone 7 is launching? Nobody knows. There are some estimation, but nobody knows. So people go online and search for iPhone 7 launch date. And the first site tells them, nobody knows. There's an estimation, maybe in April. So they go back to Google and they check the other site. And this site tells them, nobody knows. Probably in February. But your site would do something else. Your site will despair users from going back to Google. Your site will be confident. And it will tell them, iPhone 7 launch date is April 14. This is based on former years and the estimation of experts and us going and checking 500 websites and comparing them and understanding this is the date. This is one way to be confident enough for users to believe you. But the problem with this is that if you're serious enough, you can't really lie. I prefer not lying to users. But you can be confident in that and tell them also, but it may change. So bookmark this page because we will keep this page updated and visit it regularly, and I will inform you if the date is changed. Now, is this a good signal to Google when someone bookmarks our page? So you're actually telling users, don't go back to Google search results. Bookmark this page. 2 signals. Sending to Google that my site is the best. You can also add a newsletter box saying, I will inform you. Search no more. I will inform you when there's a concrete final date for the iPhone 7 launch. So these are 3 ways for you to make the user stick to your site and not go back to Google. Now imagine what Google will see. People visit competitor A, go back to Google. People visit competitor B, go back to Google. People visited your site, not going back to Google. They probably found what they were looking for, and you will start seeing your ranking climbs. There's another good example that I want to show you that we used in HostAdvice. We have a tool called Who is Hosting This Website. There are like 3 or 4 tools like that in the industry. All check your name servers and so forth and tell you where your website is hosted. The problem with this tool is that it is only accurate 95% of the time. 5% of the time, we are not able to determine where is your site hosted. Not us, not anybody of our competitors. Now, my competitors are telling people, sorry, error, we could not determine where your website is hosted. And what do you do if you read something like that? You go back to Google, and you check some other tool. And this tool is telling you, sorry, we could not determine where your site is being hosted. Only for 5% of users, but 5% is enough. But our site is saying, still not perfect, sorry, we could not determine where your site is being hosted, but maybe you mistyped, and if you didn't mistype, contact us now, and we will manually check where your website is hosted. Now what happens? For 95% of users, they go to the first results page, it's enough. But 5% of the users keep trying the second tool and the third tool until they arrive to us. And they never leave us because they got the best answer that could be. We despair them. We tell them, this is a change I'm going to make. I'm going to make it obvious that nobody else in the world can tell them where the site is being hosted, and I'm going to explain them why, and I'm going to despair them from going back to Google. So those 5% users that did not get their answer would make my website, and already make my website, rank higher and higher, because Google understands that I'm giving a perfect solution for 100% of queries. And this is why I should rank higher. Another nice tactic that I really love is an article I read in a newspaper telling me some restaurant increased sales by 50% after increasing the font in, I don't remember how much, because they understood older people have hard time reading their menus. So I was thinking, how can I increase font for all the people visiting my site from Google? And I knew the answer. Anybody knows how I can increase font for people 50 years old or 60 years old and up? Just those users. You do know the answer. Demographic? No, demographic won't tell me. Browser resolution, interesting. I said browser. If they're using Internet Explorer, they must be 60 years old or more, no? Only my grandmother is using Internet Explorer. Excuse me, guys from Microsoft. So we did it. We increased the font, and we created a split test between Chrome users, Firefox, and Internet Explorer users, and we changed the font, and we found out that we got an uplift of 15% in IE user after we decreased the font. So I don't know about my hypothesis that only old people use Internet Explorer, but I know that we differentiated the users, and we got an uplift. Are you using differently IE users from Chrome users? Anybody in this crowd is giving different pages to different browsers? You should do it, because this is how your 5% increase in compared to the competition, and this is how you'll get better ranking. So I will skip that. This is another example of what I talked, and I don't have a lot of time. This is the only example we'd give, which is not HostAdvice. There's a website we help called buildyourownblog.net. It's by this wonderful guy called Matthew Loomis, who helped people build a blog. Now, we wanted to increase the digital footprint of Matthew. And I tell you, digital footprint, you can say two things. You can say it's direct search, direct traffic to the website, people typing the domain, and it's people searching for his brand. So we wanted these two parameters to increase dramatically. What did we do? We created a scholarship program of $4,000 for young writers, and we emailed all the universities in any English-speaking country, and we told them we want to give out $4,000 to your student. And we asked them to print the brochure and put it on the wall. And in the brochure, obviously, there was a QR code. So people are scanning the QR code and arrive to the website. This is direct traffic. What does it tell to Google? I'm not sure Google understands it was via QR code and not direct, but it understands people wanted to visit our site directly, not any other site, our site. Also, people not everybody has a QR code program, application. So some of the people just went to Google and started searching, and we saw this #1 search term after 2 weeks of launching was Build Your Own Blog Scholarship. This was the #1 brand, which includes the #1 search, which includes our brand in it. So people are arriving directly and searching for our brand. We also encourage people to bookmark our site. It was very easy. After they signed up to the competition, we gave them an email. We sent them an email that said, thank you very much. Bookmark this page to see if you're winning next time. This is the page we are going to publish the winning person. So they want to bookmark our site. It's not that we're asking anybody. They want to bookmark our website. There's actually a quicker way for all of you guys to increase your bookmark tenfolded by the end of the day. You know what it is? It's showing this pop-up. I'm not doing it, but this pop-up that says click Control plus D to refresh would increase your bookmarks by tenfolded. What happens when you click Control D? The page you're watching is being bookmarked, and the way Google Chrome is built, it's very hard to take it out of the bookmarking system. I'm not recommending it, but I'm saying there are creative ways you guys can increase the bookmarking of your website. Obviously, Control plus R is the real refresh. And if you mistype, that's kind of a gray hat. Obviously, we did some postcarding and LinkedIn group. Thank you page, very interesting. If you have an app on Chrome Web Store, on a Chrome extension, or a software, you can open up a thank you page. This thank you page, again, is direct traffic. If Google looks at direct traffic as a signal, you can influence it. Other out-of-the-box techniques, this will be the most creative one, I think. I told you we wanted to increase the companies listed on HostAdvice from 200 to 2,000. And we had a budget of $250 for it. How do you do that? How do you grow so fast, so much? I decided to look at people's profile. You remember the profile picture and the description I had in LinkedIn? I changed it to web hosting, ? Submit your company to hostadvice.com. And I started visiting people's profiles. And what happened when I visit somebody's profile on LinkedIn? They get an email. Somebody watched your profile. Ariel from web hosting company, submit your company here, visited your profile. Now, I didn't send an email to those guys. LinkedIn did. I only visited people from the hosting industry. And LinkedIn decided on their own, without asking me, to send them an email telling them, Ariel watched your website, and you should submit your hosting company to HostAdvice. Now, with $150, I paid a guy in Elance to create a bot that would visit 1,000 profiles pages a day, which is the limit in LinkedIn. So for a few weeks, this bot visited probably dozens of thousands of companies and marketing personnel and CEOs and customer service. And they all went to Google, copy-paste HostAdvice, and after a few weeks, we had 2,000 companies without doing anything. Now, what do you think this tells Google about me? When somebody is copying-pasting from his email sent not by me to Chrome, to a new tab, my brand, and spend 1 hour to submit his web hosting company on my site. What does it tell Google about the brand HostAdvice? Sadly, you can no longer do that. They changed the rule just a few weeks ago, and they no longer in LinkedIn show the text nor the image. You have to click and visit LinkedIn profile, which reduces conversion by a lot. There are other guys that I see doing something similar. If you look at your Google Analytics report, referral traffic, you will see companies like these, boostmysite.com, traffic to cash. And you're very happy because you see a lot of traffic is coming from those sites. But when you look more carefully into it, you see 0 time on site, 0 pages. These are bots. But they make people copy-paste the domain and try to find the missing link. Now, if I learned something in my life is that you don't mess up with Google. So we'll never do something like that. I'm fine, with playing a bit with LinkedIn. It may reduce my ranking in LinkedIn search results, but I'm not playing with Google. But the idea is interesting because you can use other mechanisms out there in the industry in your benefit. This last example I want to show you is for ad blockers. We had a download portal that we helped, and they had a problem with ad blocker users not generating any revenue. We told them, guys, you can use those users to share your site or to engage more. If they're not making any money, at least the only thing we ask them is to share. So whenever in this site you click download, you get a pop-up asking you which program you think is better. The one you just wanted to download or some other random one? Obviously, everybody's picking the one they wanted. And after that, they see automatically a pop-up of a Facebook share of the program they just wanted to download. Now, I know they didn't want to share it, but one thing led to another, and they shared it. And this actually increased the amount of shares on Facebook in 100%. Now, I'm talking about 15% of the users sharing as much as all the others. Now, why is this important? Because imagine there are 2 download sites. And Google looks at those sites and he says, I can see they all get the same traffic from me, but these guys, people share their stuff twice as much. What do you think Google think of these guys compared to those guys? They must be doing something good. People actually share their website, and I see traffic coming in. So I'm going to increase the ranking of those guys. So if you have users that you can't monetize because they are mobile users and you're selling a desktop app, or they are desktop users and you're selling a mobile app, or because they are from Israel and you don't give service in Israel, use those users to share your site more, to engage your site more, be more aggressive with what you ask them to do, because they're not generating enough money for you. I'm not going to talk about this, but obviously there was a presentation just a few hours ago about sharing better, so I'm just going to skip that. And this one is a very interesting example as well about sharing. When somebody is writing a review in HostAdvice on a web hosting company, he can share this review. Before the review is being published, we copy-paste the content, and we put it in a share window. So you need to understand, people want to share what they wrote, not what you wrote. We just copy-paste the content that people just wrote, we put it in Facebook, and we see a big increase of the amount of shares. So there's lots of tweaks you can do to increase the amount of share. Some things that people don't tell you is that you don't have to use an image from the page that the user visited. You can have a much better image stored in different place, not affecting the page load. And when the user shared your content, it will share a much bigger, nicer picture. I told you before, you can use the thank you page. We took the tool that we developed, we turned it into an app, and we turned it into a Chrome extension. From some reason, I know the reason, it's called Chromebook, Google are pushing the app above and the extension below, despite the fact that extensions are useful and apps are not. But we developed for both. So people can actually go and download our app from Google Chrome Web Store. And what's interesting about it is that we know that people that downloaded our app are heavy users. They are different segments. You remember I talked about users? So I can build a different approach for them, a different call to action, and ask them to do more aggressive stuff. OK. I'm going to move on to this last slide of mine. I'm not going to talk about any of the items in the list. I'm just going to ask you to take your mobile phones. Please don't insult me. Even just do as if you're taking a picture and send it to your CTO or to your developer. Tell him, Ariel said it's very important. Please approve over email that you did all of that. If you didn't do all of that, you can visit the blog post that we just published earlier today and read more about that stuff, because speed matters a lot. OK? But I'm not going to talk about it. Obviously, if you feel your web hosting is not doing a good job, you should check HostAdvice for the latest reviews on which hosting is better. Now, this is the most awful page on your website and my presentation, because it adds no call to action. Now, I just talked an hour or 30 minutes about how I should, drive you to do something to engage you. There are 100 people sitting here listening to me, and I haven't engaged you in anything. So let me think what I can ask you to do. Hey, can you look at your phone? If there's a good image there, maybe my slide just before, and you can share it on Facebook now. Maybe you can tweet it. It'll be great. Let's see what happens. I added value. I gave you a good slide. I actually wrote an entire post to not just trick you, but give you real value. But I also gave you the tool for you to share. You can go out of this presentation and share it. If you enjoyed my lecture, my presentation, please do. And something else happened. When you go back home to your kids and to your daily routine, and a few days passes, my presentation would be the one that you'll remember. And it's not because of my poor English or my beautiful look. It's because when you look at the photos from Las Vegas, there would be one picture that will keep showing up, this presentation slide. And this would be one of those presentations you actually took the effort to take a picture. And you'll remember HostAdvice, and you will search for HostAdvice the next time that you are searching for a new web hosting provider. So technicalities actually work. And we have 3 minutes for questions. So if anybody has, please do. Slide back, of course I can. OK, I will just say one thing if we're talking about this line, and we have 1 minute. I checked it a few times. The speed of your web hosting matters a lot to your ranking. Check your site speed. Check with your developer. There are companies out there that offer better solutions for the same price, sometimes better price. Don't believe all those 10 links affiliate sites. You're much smarter than those. Look at real reviews. Look that people honestly wrote not always a positive review. And switch for a good web hosting. We don't represent anybody. There are 200 companies on our site that have affiliate links. and not always they are the best ones. So check our site for sure to find your next web hosting company. Thank you very much.